Lucky Duck Foundation is honoring the late Peter Seidler's legacy. The CEO of the Lucky Duck Foundation, Mr. Drew Moser, joins us with more about the tribute. Sir.
Morning, Paul.
I did not know Peter. In fact, I never ever got to shake his hand, so I'm going to acquiesce to your take because you knew him quite well, did you not?
Got to work with him pretty closely through the Lucky Duck Foundation and his efforts to aid the homeless population, and he was off the charts on so many levels. Just a huge heart, but very much action-oriented, and wanted to get stuff done, wanted to help people as quickly as possible, and it was never about him. It was about bringing the right people together to go out and aid those in need.
It was interesting. Several people have sat across from me, like you are now, Ted Leitner, his widow, and others who have spoken about Peter Seidler. And the common theme was that, man, his level of success, he never wore that publicly. Like, if I was as successful as Peter was, you know about it because I tell everybody. He wasn't that cat. He was the cat who walked, would jog late at night amongst the homeless and actually hand out a buck here, a buck there. And I think that is such a cooler person to be. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have something called the Peter Seidler Way, and it tries to encapsulate parts of what you just described, that totally selfless, unassuming, huge heart, and would jog late at night and get to know people that were suffering on the streets and just talk with them and hear their name and their story and do what he could to help them. But when we talk about the Peter Seidler Way, it's collaboration, it's no concern for credit, it's a bias for action. He talked constantly about bringing people into the mix that were doers, not talkers. He's about getting things done, and one of the first things he did was work with Lucky Duck to construct one of those massive industrial tent structures that still shelter almost 500 people nightly. So it's hard to encapsulate all that he was because he was, again, just so off the charts. But that's, one thing actually that he did was regularly hosted symposiums with Dan Shea to bring together the key leaders that are in the homelessness space, including the politicians, as a way to hold them accountable and try, keep their feet to the fire and make sure things were happening. And so that's what we'll try to do through the Peter Seidler Way, and we're going to call those the Peter Seidler Way Symposiums on Homelessness, because when we think about him, that's what we think he would want most of all, is to stay down that path.
I'm not sure who the quote belongs to. It escapes me, but it embodies Peter, or at least what you're telling me about Peter, is that you can accomplish a lot if you're not concerned about who gets the credit.
Totally.
And he's a poster child for that quote, is he not?
Oh, 100%. It was never about him. It was about helping the poor people suffering on the streets and doing it in a unified manner that no one cares who gets credit. And that's what he said from day one. We don't care who's a Democrat or who's a Republican. We're gonna follow the facts, and we're not gonna care about credit. And that's, he's unfortunately no longer with us, but I think we can all continue to follow his lead, and frankly, that's what I try to do every day in this work is, when we're looking at a program or investment opportunity, whatever it might be, it's, well, what would Peter think about this, and how would those, Peter Seidler Way attributes fold into it? So yeah, I just can't. And I should also say his wife has now joined the board.
What an amazing woman she is.
She's awesome. Yeah. Sheila is great and fully committed to fulfilling his legacy and following the Peter Seidler Way. So although he's no longer with us, he's absolutely in our hearts and absolutely continues to drive what we do day in and day out.
You know what makes it amazing? It wasn't like Tony Gwynn was with us for a real long period of time, and he became part of the fabric of the community. Peter was here for a much shorter period of time, yet is making the same kind of impact. And then folks like yourselves who are going to keep him alive even in death. It's the fact that you could have that he had that kind of impact on you and others like you. That what a special human being.
Absolutely. I can't say enough good things about him and Sheila now and his kids who are getting more involved and wanting to set out accomplish what he set out to do, and just off the charts human being.
So as we wrap up this conversation, what do you want the folks out there in TV land to do? I mean, what's the call to action as far as it relates to supporting Peter's causes?
Well, if people want to get involved with Lucky Duck, they can go to luckyduckfoundation.org. There's a heck of a lot of ways to do so, time, talent, treasure, or otherwise. And then actually there's a restaurant in Old Town that put up a Peter Seidler altar for Day of the Dead, and they've got some menu specials that honor Peter and raise a few dollars in his honor to help the homeless population. So and that's Casa Guadalajara in Old Town that did that. It's a great altar and tribute to Peter, and brought a huge smile to my face when I went and saw it. So luckyduckfoundation.org, or if folks want to go check out the altar at Casa Guadalajara.
I got to see that now.
Yeah, it's a special deal. They did a really good job.
All right, I'm sure people watching this, or now the cameras are going to be there shortly. So, all right, Drew, thank you so much for taking time out. It's always greatly appreciated to chat with you.
Thank you, likewise, Paul.